Okay, mayong adlaw na tong tanan. Ako day si Mr. Julius Oy. Ah, ako mo'y advisor sa TBL 11. So ako ang uh, tahas or ako ang part aning information is about the JDVP program. So kaning JDVP mo ni siya gitawag nga Joint Delivery Voucher Program for Senior High School. So DepEd Order number 035 series of 2020 guidelines on the implementation of the Joint Delivery Voucher Program for Senior High School Technical Vocational Livelihood Specializations for school year 2020-2021. So, ang guidelines na to aim to enhance the capability of DepEd SHS to implement the TBL track through partnerships with institutions which are equipped with necessary resources. So example lang is teachers, workshops, tools, and equipment to carry out the program. So sa tuwa diri sa Sibulan, so dili man ta kayo equip ani siya muna mangita kag partners. Number one is rationally. So the rationale of the program, so inclusion to DepEd Order number 035, series of 2020 guidelines on the implementation of the Joint Delivery Voucher Program for Senior High School Technical Vocational Livelihood Specializations for school year 2020-2021. Okay, number one, Republic Act number 10533 or the Enhanced Basic Education Act of 2013 recognizes the constitutional mandate of the state to establish, maintain, and support a complete, adequate, and integrated system of education relevant to the needs of the people, the country, society at large. So, munang mangita tag partners, which is sa ato adari itong sa video is TI. So, sila may naay capacity. Makakuha na to ang needs sa ato ang students. Okay, number two, RA 10533 thus direct the state to create a functional basic education system that will develop productive and responsible citizens equipped with the essential competences, skills, and values for both lifelong learning and employment. To achieve this, state is further instructed to broaden the goals of high school education for college preparation, vocational and technical career opportunities such as well as creative arts, sports, and entrepreneurial employment in a rapidly changing and increasingly globalized environment. Okay, number three, pursuant to these mandates, among the hallmarks of the K-12 Basic Education Program is the senior high school, which provides for a technical vocational livelihood track along with three other senior high school tracks, namely academic track, sports track, and arts and design track. The TBL track has four strands: agri-fishery arts, home economics, information and communication technology, and industrial arts that offer various specializations. So okay, kita naata na po sa home economics, which is ato adering develop is katong bread and pastry production and food and beverage services. Okay, so number four, in RA 10533, it is provided in the transitory provisions that the Department of Education, Commission of Higher Education, Technical Education and Skills Development Authority, Technical Vocational Institutions, and Higher Education Institutions shall coordinate closely with one another to implement strategies to ensure that the academic, physical, financial, and human resource capabilities not only of higher educational institutions but also of the technology educational institutions are utilized and not adversely affected. In conjunction, there is a need to address transitory shortage in workshops, tools, equipment, and teachers for the TVL track in DepEd public senior high schools. So, limited naman tao resources there is, so we need partnership, which is the private school. Okay, number 5, RA 10533, Section 10, expansion of e-gas fee beneficiaries also stated that the benefits accorded by Republic Act number 8545 for the expanded government assistance to students and teachers in privilege in private education act. So, muna siya itawag e-gas fee shall be extended to qualified students enrolled under the Enhanced Basic Education. The DepEd shall engage the services of private education institutions and non-DepEd schools offering senior high school through the programs under the RA 8545 and other financial arrangements formulated by the DepEd and the Department of Budget and Management based on the principles of public-private partnerships. So, nagutay partner na private school, ani. So, in number 6, operating in this premise, the Joint Delivery Voucher Program for Senior High School Technical Vocational and Livelihood Specializations, or the JDVP, the TBL promotes partnerships between DepEd and qualified institutions as stipulated in RA 10533 and acknowledges the complementary roles of public and private educational institutions as stated in RA 8545 or the Expanded Government Assistance to Students and Teachers in Private Education Act. Under this law, the invaluable contribution that the private schools have made and will make to education and the complementary roles of public and private educational institutions are recognized towards the fulfillment of the mandate of the state to promote and make quality education accessible to all Filipino citizens. The state then undertook to provide mechanisms to maximize the use of existing resources of private education. Number 7, the said general mechanism under the e-GASP law was made more specific by the fiscal year 2020, the GAA, by appropriating funds for JDVP, the TBL intended to enable select DepEd public senior high school student taking technical, vocational, and livelihood track to take their TBL subjects in private or non-DepEd public senior high school subject to these guidelines. In addition, pursuant to Section 24, participating schools, Rule number 6, e-GASP beneficiaries and other financing arrangements with private educational institutions and non-DepEd public schools of RA 11465, the providers are expanded to include private TBIs subject to the issuance of these guidelines. Number 8, this JDVP TBL is designed to optimize TBL learning by allowing senior high school students enrolled in public schools to avail of vouchers and take their TBL specializations in eligible partner institutions from either private or non-DepEd public senior high schools, as well as TBIs offering their desired specializations. Number 9, the DepEd through the Office of the Undersecretary for Curriculum and Instructions, the OUCI, released DMCI 2020-00162 titled Suggested Strategies in Implementing Distance Learning Delivery Modalities, DLDM for school year 2020-2021, and TESDA provided the guidelines in implementing flexible learning to TVET or TVET through circular number 062 series of 2020. This is in response to challenges brought about by COVID-19 and in accordance with the directive of the Office of the President that no face-to-face classes shall be held until the vaccine becomes available. Okay, last is number 10, the GDVP, TBL partners and recipient schools shall employ the strategies stated in DMCI 2020-00162 and circular number 062 series of 2020 in the implementation of the GDVP TBL for the current school year to protect the health, safety, and well-being of learners, teachers, and personnel, and to prevent the further transmission of COVID-19. Okay, let us continue. Okay, scope and coverage. Okay, so the coverage of The voucher, the JDVP TBL guidelines cover grade 12 students enrolled in DepEd Public's seniors high schools under the TBL track who will allowed to take their TBL specialization subjects in eligible private or non-DepEd public schools, senior high schools, and private technolo technolo technical vocational institution for school year 2020-2021. This shall guide concerned offices in the central office, the regional office, schools division office, and the schools in the program implementation. So, kaning only grade 12 students are eligible. So, kung dili ka grade 12 or na kay kulang subject, so di ka pwede. Subsequent to the implementation of the JDVP TPL in school year 2020-2021, these guidelines shall be updated and enhanced for the succeeding school year based on the methoding and evaluation. So policy statement. So the DepEd issues the guidelines on the implementation of the JDVP TBL whose primary objective is to enhance the capability of DepEd senior high schools to implement the TBL track through partnerships with institutions that are equipped with necessary resources. So munang naagid tayo partners sa private partners. So ang purpose ani is number one, aim sa JDVP TBL enable the learners to complete their respective TBL specialization subjects through partners. Provide an appropriate learning environment required of the specialization and address delays in the provision of the necessary resources for TBL specialization. Okay, so we have the procedures. The JDVP TBL voucher amount shall be paid by the DepEd upon its validation of billing statements submitted by the JDVP TBL partners based on training services rendered for learners beneficiaries. Payment will be made directly to the bank account of JDVP TBL partners and not through the learners beneficiaries. So, dili ni siya pwedeng ihatag sa mga learners. So, direct ni siya sa partners, which is, sa to other is STI. So, a JDVP TBL voucher shall be granted to the beneficiaries in the qualified public senior high schools in the amount of 12,550 pesos per learner beneficiary. The JDVP TBL voucher shall cover the training cost for 320 hours per learner in any month in any one or combination of 1 to 4 specializations, taking into consideration TESDA Circular Number 12 Series of 2017 and the TBL specialization already taken. This shall cover tuition and other expenses, for example, learning materials, consumables for the workshop, operational and miscellaneous for the TBL training needed to complete the applicable specializations for grade 12. So, interested private senior high school, non-DepEd public senior high school, and the accredited private technical vocational institution. So, kaning katong mga interested nga mga partners nato, so dali na kayo nato ng may balance. Naman na siya kanang accredited na siya sa DepEd. So, naman na nakabutang anak. So, that's all. Thank you and have a good day.